Now, when I say that my school was on fire, that's kind of clickbait because it wasn't the school itself that was on fire, it was actually some kayaks that was right next to the school, but I'll get onto that later. Now, you may be watching this thinking that, wait, wouldn't something like this be on the news? And you're actually right, it was on the news. This is a picture of the fire itself. Now, obviously, you must have quite a few questions. For example, who did it? Why did they do it? And what was the public reaction to it all? Well, I'm going to answer all those questions in this video. To answer your first question, it was some second year. I mean, I was in P5 at that time, so to be honest, I have absolutely no clue who did it. But I do have a friend who does know who did it, but I won't give the name because, duh. Why they did it, I have absolutely no clue. But they were second years, so I'm gonna assume that they did it because why not, and maybe it was funny for them, you know, to burn plastic and possibly poison the whole primary school. The problem with the fire was that it was actually really, really windy at that time. In fact, there was a storm. In fact, I'm going to look up the name of the storm. Okay, so I could very well be wrong here, but I believe it was Storm Eva. This was during Christmas. I forgot what year it was probably 2015, but either way, it was during a storm, and the wind was blowing in a direction that made it aim for the primary section of the school, because the school I went to was like a super school, because like it had both primary school and secondary school in the same campus. But anyways, let me give you the kind of story, or setup of the story at least. Okay, so the day is, well, it was the last day of school that year, and it was Christmas. So we watched Christmas movies all day and did a couple of things like play games and stuff, you know, that sort of thing. Now, I can't actually remember what movie we were watching at the time. It was the last movie we were watching. I think it was Elf or something like that, but either way, it doesn't matter. I think I might have been one of the first people to notice it, because I actually thought it was a result of the storm, because there was a lot of smoke and it was very windy that day. So all that smoke kind of made it look a lot like really, really fast moving fog, and it was kind of something I didn't believe I saw at first, and I just thought it was the storm, and I thought, oh god, it'll be a nightmare to get home. But then it happened. Some random girl in my class started calling out for her mum, and then panic mode was activated, because then the school was starting to get evacuated, and you know, you had a fair few people crying. Even my school bully cried, even though I was kind of just I mean, I kept like, I was expressionless for the whole thing. So yeah, we basically just like, the school was evacuating us pretty much. First we tried going to the AstroTurf, which, in case you somehow don't know what an AstroTurf is, it's basically just the football field, and of course that didn't work, so we decided to go over to the car park, and then we stayed there. Now, of course, it was windy, and we had to stay still in like a straight line throughout the car park for God knows how long. I think it was like an hour or so, but it felt like an hour. Now, this is something that I don't think it happened as how I remembered, but I do remember seeing like some kind of reporter or someone like that there. I don't think it was the BBC, because it was not on BBC News at that time. I mean, it was in the papers. In fact, well, you had that image, and I think if I remember correctly, the guy was interviewing my head teacher. When I look back at it now, I remember like the smoke. I didn't actually know it was a kayak until like later on, after the evacuation. And the kayak was made of plastic, so to the person who burnt that kayak, I hope you're happy knowing that you've nearly poisoned hundreds of primary school children. So after that whole ordeal, we basically just went back to class and finished watching the film. So after that, it was home time / lunchtime, so you can either have stayed and had like a sandwich or something, like there was an assortment of them, or you could just go home. I chose the latter. And no, it wasn't exactly a traumatic experience, maybe for the people who had asthma, and there was quite a lot of people in my school who had asthma at the time, but overall, I'd say, well, at least I can say to friends, if I ever had any, that I've been in a school fire before, or I've at least been through it before. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and bye or whatever.